chaos in Honkai Star Rail together. They can be pretty difficult, but I'm hoping that this one isn't super tricky. Why don't we jump on in and see what the gimmick this time around is? Okay, so it is the strife of creation, and it says, at the start of each cycle regenerates 20% energy for all ally characters. The energy regenerated by this effect can exceed the target's max energy, enables all memo sprites on the field to immediately take action. Again, after their next action. Okay. So, this means that we are going to be looking for characters with high energy and characters with memo sprites. So, erudition and remembrance this time around, where remembrance is the new path. This is good for me because I have quite a lot of good erudition characters. We're taking a look here at the 9th floor, which we can jump to. And the first round is week 2, quantum and electric. What's it called? I'm not sure. So I'm bringing along Jing Yuan and Jade, along with Sunday, who works perfectly with Jing Yuan. The second floor is week 2, imaginary and physical. So I've got Argenti and Aventurine. You might have noticed by now that this is like a voiceover style. I'm not playing with you live. We are together, watching past me play. So we can judge all of my misplays together. I played the Memory of Chaos over a couple of days, just when I had the time to. So it was just easier for me to record the gameplay when I could, and then sit down and do the voiceover. And we also just saw me jump out and make sure that I had my good light cone on Jing Yuan, his signature one. These first few, like 9 and 10, usually aren't too difficult once you have played for a while, and once you have all of your good characters leveled up and stuff. So we should be able to cruise on through these early ones, where the later ones, like 11 and 12, usually take forever. They've got loads of health, maybe even need to try a couple times. Spoiler. But for now, we're just playing out the game. Honestly, on these levels, the early ones you could probably auto and it would be fine. But I like to actually play and sort of make decisions and stuff. I do also have Lingsha with me, who is my newest character. I managed to get her just before her banner ended, and she's a really good abundance unit. So I'm really happy that I have her. Previously, I had been using Gallagher in place of Lingsha, and Gallagher is also really, really good, so it's not like a huge, huge upgrade, but I do like it. I do like it. Particularly, I thought her voice actor did a really great job in the story when she showed up. It just stuck out to me. Anyway, the fighting so far is going pretty well. We are still within the first cycle, and the Jingyuan, Jade, and Sunday trio is doing pretty well for us. Let me grab a favorite of mine when I'm doing these voiceover videos. One of my brushes. Let's start with a nice big fluffy one here. I just like doing mic brushing when I'm speaking over some gameplay that I've already recorded, because I don't get a good chance to do it otherwise. But I really like the sound. So we have come into the second cycle. I'm usually not too bothered about trying to min-max one cycles or anything. And I think I did misplay quite a few times on this round, particularly because I used Sunday's ult, I think on Jade at one point. Or maybe it was a skill to boost him up. We did finish, by the way, thankfully. Anyway, we're on the second phase with Argenti, Ciao Ciao, Robin, and Aventurine here. Yeah, I boosted Jade up with, I think, Sunday's skill, because Jingyuan was already next or something, and it put Sunday's buff on Jade, and then every time it came back round to Sunday's turn, the kind of automatic decision making by the game, which sets your target, selected Jade, and without thinking I just went ahead a couple times actually, so some misplays there. I think we might have been able to get it in one cycle if I played better. Here we are against the Dream Jolt troop, I think. Ape, yeah. Sweet Gorilla and Robin, for some reason, got hyper-focused down with a couple of attacks early on. I don't know about you guys, but I found that my Aventurine, like another missile directly into Robin's face there, I found that my Aventurine isn't doing quite as well as he was before. I think just naturally when the scaling happens and these enemies start to do more damage and have more health, that's to be expected. And he did have a bug a couple of patches ago, but that supposedly got fixed. But I just find that my Aventurine teams are taking way more damage than they have been. In fact, I have been also making sure that my Fu Xuan is fully leveled up, and I've found that she's been doing a better job of protecting teams than my Aventurine with his signature light cone and E1. Aventurine brings more benefits than just protection. Fushuen does as well, of course, but they just do slightly different things. But what it does mean is that I'm having to use Aventurine's skill a couple of times when it comes around, just to make sure that everyone's shields are topped up. Another thing is that my Aventurine isn't too quick. I sort of built him particularly slow with loads of defense for the shields, but I think being quicker would be better because he could get his ultimate back up quicker with basic attacks. But we did successfully manage to 3-star the 9th floor and onto the 10th floor with the dreaded Hule. Hule has been a nightmare in the past few, I think, Memory of Chaoses. But then I think he's shown up on higher floors. But this time around, I'm bringing along the Herta and switching across the Lyca back to her. The good one, Jingyuan's one. So I've got the Herta, Jade, Sunday, and Lingsha on the first team. And my second team, my only wind, well, not strictly true. My best wind DPS is Fei Xiao, who is a really good character, but I haven't played with her too much actually, and I don't think I've built her the best either, so she's not incredible for me. I do also have, he pokes his head up every now and then, Blade, who has suffered the test of time and won't be carrying us through any Memory of Chaoses right now, I think. He also is one of my older characters, so he's not quite built up with really great pieces. But I'm pretty sure I do have him at E2 actually, which is maybe something I should lean into and start playing some more. But I think I've seen some rumors that they will be buffing some of the older characters. I think starting with the standard banner ones, like Jabard, Bailu, things like that. But I think I saw somewhere that they might think about buffing, or they might be buffing Blade as well, which would be great for me. I think because I also have Yunli, and when I play with her and she counters every time she gets hit, whereas Blade only does his counter on a slightly different basis, like when he gets 5 charges of his passive after he takes damage. It feels really slow and not as impactful. So I'm excited for that. For now though, we're just playing the Herta. The Herta, as she loves to be played, boosted as many times as she can with Sunday, and pumping out those empowered skills. I went for E2 the Herta when her banner was up, which would have been really good. I have her at E1, but unfortunately I lost the 50-50, and my next guarantee was on Lingsha. So she's just E1 for now. But as you can see, my Fushuen is doing a really good job of protecting the team. The Herta has taken some damage, but to be honest, most of that is coming from Jade as part of her kit, which Fu Xuan can't help much with. I think Fu Xuan is a really good character. She reduces all of the damage the team takes just by a percentage, and she takes a percentage of the damage for everyone. And on top of that, she can heal everyone by a small amount with her ult. So she does a lot. And that's not including yet the crit rate buff she gives everyone and the effect resistance part of her skill as well. So she does a lot. She does a lot. I'm glad to have her. I think with Sunday's crit rate buff and with Fu Xuan's crit rate buff, we are very close to 100% with the Yoda, which is nice. Get a bit of a heal there with Fu Xuan's ult, and we're just taking down the Savage God, Mad King, incarnation of Strife. Sometimes I kind of take parts of these characters' kits for granted, and I can't fully remember exactly what they do. I was checking there to see if I had any way of knowing when Sunday's skill point granting effect from his light cone, his signature light cone, was back up. I don't think there is a passive or anything to count, so I'd have to keep note of that. But I just wanted to see if I could find out. We are doing a good job against this boss though. We've taken a couple cycles. Again, I'm not too bothered about trying to get everything in one cycle. But the Urta's empowered skills do a huge chunk of damage, and we finish up there. My second team here against Hule is Fei Xiao, Yunli, Lingsha, and Mutza. The all characters that we meet on the Xianzhou Luofu, funnily enough. But I like to bring Yunli with me because we can force Hule to attack her, and she gets some of the hitbacks, of course, with the counters, and and he's weak to physical, so you can start trying to kind of whittle down his weakness, even when he's in his enrage mode, if that ever happens. Aventurine is actually particularly good against Hule, because he can chuck his shield out, even when it's not his turn. But I wanted to bring Yunli with me, and I didn't want her to have to compete for threat, so I decided not to bring Aventurine with me this time. We are taking a decent chunk of damage, but Lingsha's healing is quite nice when it comes around. Another aspect of the team that I would be kind of happy to change if I needed to would be to bring Gallagher instead. Even though Lingsha is, I think, probably overall a better healer, all things considered, I really like Gallagher with Yunli against these big boss enemies because he puts his debuff on the enemies, and when you hit an enemy with the debuff, you heal for a decent chunk. So it's really good with characters like Yunli and Blade even that do counters and follow-up attacks, because they end up healing when it's not your turn at all. So he's quite safe to use with teams like this. For now, we're just trying to get through the first round, and I'm picking my target with Mozza. I think I'm kind of torn because the Guardian Shadow on the right isn't weak to lightning or anything, and she's higher HP. But the Howling Casket on the left is really close to being dead, so I was torn between which one to pick there. I end up going with the Guardian Shadow, and I think that's the right choice. She went down pretty quickly after the Howling Casket. So I'm pretty happy with the choice there. I think I probably should have used an ult, Fei Xiao's ult. It was a little greedy of me to hope that the Guardian Shadow went down before she got a big attack off. And the punishment is that Yunli's quite low on HP, about half. But thankfully, we have Ling Xiao's ult, which does some healing and boosts her passive. I'm pretty sure I'm also deciding who best to pick here. Probably not the little guy that I have targeted at the moment, but I'm just deciding between hitting big old Hule and starting the damage off, or the Howling Casket on the very right to try and take down the ads as soon as possible. It's a bit of a toss-up, I think, but I figure I'm pretty confident that we're gonna get it in within 10 cycles for the maximum stars anyway, in either case. So I should probably try and play it a bit safe to make sure I don't lose anyone by kind of minimizing the damage and taking out the ads. So we target the Howling Casket first of all. A bit of healing to try and top up Yunli, who is doing a great job of tanking most of the hits. And again, just trying to take down that Howling Casket. Hule has hit his empowered state, and immediately from follow-ups gets a nice chunk of damage from being hit so many times. That's why I like the characters I've picked for this team, because they do quite a lot outside of their turn. One kind of trap that I've fallen into against Hule fights previously is not having enough ultimates or just attacks up for when he enters his enraged state. If you don't take him out of his enraged state as soon as you can, then he will do a load of attacks, and I'm still not fully sure of the mechanics, but I think in my last Memory of Chaos video, he just went like 10 times in a row. 10 times in a row and took down one of my characters, so I didn't get full stars. So rather than doing the sensible thing and reading his kit and figuring out why he does that, I figure it's best just to try and kick him out of his enraged state as soon as possible. So here we are, just smacking him out of it with a huge Yunli ult. Yunli is also a good character for this Memory of Chaos, because enough of it. So it's kind of like a charge system, and the energy you get from the end of the phase gives her a really, really nice amount of energy for her ult there. Even though we're only in floor 10, I'm pretty sure at this point. Hule is taking a while to beat down. Again, I think it could be because my face shout isn't built particularly well, and I think maybe the team could have been better overall. I brought Moto along because I like him and I think he's cool, and he was pretty good in the first phase. But Hule here actually isn't weak to lightning, so someone like Topaz I think would probably have been a better choice overall. But I'm pretty sure we still finished this fight in the 10 cycle limit to get all 3 stars, so all's well that ends well. We have knocked Hule into his second phase and already done a nice chunk of damage, so I'm pretty happy with the progress here. And we have three phases left in order to do it in the best time possible for the 3 stars for all of the stellar jades. The Hule fight is so long and such a slog, eh? It's like perfect background footage for some relaxing brushing and close-up breathing. Once you get the kind of general strategy of knocking him out of his enrage as soon as possible down and healing everyone up, there's not too many meaningful decisions to make, to be honest. But we're almost there. I need to pull together as many jades as I can, because I'm really excited for some of the characters coming up. We finished Hule. So we'll jump into 11, and I'll here we go, collecting my jades. Jump into the next round, and I'll tell you about my pulling plans for the next few patches. Okay, so we have the Aventurine boss fight, and the I can't remember exactly what they're called, the campus Dream Jolt troop guys as well. But Aventurine is weak to lightning, so I'm bringing along Jing Yuan. And keeping Sunday, of course, because to me Jing Yuan feels like half a character without Sunday. I think a bit later on I kind of made the mistake of running him without Sunday, and although he did like a good amount of damage and didn't do too badly, the fact that his Lightning Lord was so slow was so painful. So the fact that Sunday boosts the summon as well, brings them up to go next, is invaluable for Jing Yuan. Here we are, the Banana Academics guys, who are weak to imaginary and also freeze. I forget what the elements are called, especially when I've been playing Genshin recently as well. I keep wanting to call it cryo and electro. Ice, I think it's just ice. So, I'm gonna bring along the Herta and Jade. The Herta and Jade in my second team, as well as the Remembrance main character, Kalis, I picked, who is also really good, does something kind of similar to Sunday, in a way, and is a Remembrance character, which is exciting. The one downside about having Jingyuan in one team and the Herta in another team is that they are fighting for the same light cone. So, I give Jingyuan the light cone and the Herta one of my other ones. But I'm just running through my Remembrance MC build to see if there's anything quick and easy I could upgrade. I don't have too many Remembrance light cones right now, of course. The path has only just been released. But I could do with leveling up some of these traces. So I'm going to use Tears of Dreams to upgrade that one for some extra true damage. When Mem jumps on an ally. And I'm pretty sure I upgrade these ones as well for, again, just some more damage. We will see them in the fight, of course, but just in case you're not sure, Remembrance characters have these summons that they bring along called Memo Sprites. And the Remembrance main character has one called Mem, who for some reason only says Mem. Or it sounds like they only say Mem. We do understand them, but all we hear is like Mem. I do have some items on, and I could do with leveling up the body, but the one I have on isn't great. And honestly, I think I'm thinking at this point that the build is doable. So we run with that, and we're coming back to finalize my teams with Jingyuan, Robin, Sunday, and I bring Fushuan along on the first team. Then Theota, Jade, Remembrance MC, and Aventurine on the second team. I'll leave my remaining explanation of the Remembrance MC for when we get to the second round. For now, we need to take down the evil version of Aventurine, who has changed, I think. I remember the initial fight when I fought Aventurine in the story was a bit different than it is now, I think. And it's been I think it's just been updated, so we see a different version in the MOC. Overall, I think it's a bit easier, so that's good, but it's just something that I'm not quite as familiar with. But we have seen plenty of gameplay today with Jingyuan and Sunday. I have them geared up to work well with each other, where Jingyuan has like one more speed than Sunday, which means that the turn order, if you look at the top left there, if you check out the top left, the turn order will pretty much always be Jingyuan and then Sunday, unless something funny goes on with the speed of my characters. But what that means is that Jingyuan well as Lightning Lord. It's just the perfect kind of setup for the turn order there. Fushuan again here is doing a very good job. Doing a very good job of keeping everyone healed up. I think a couple of times I forget to replenish Fushuan's skill, which is a very bad mistake. I think the main reason that I forget to do it sometimes is that if you just take a look, at Sunday at the bottom there, you'll see he has 3 pips next to his little symbol. Those count down for every turn that his buff, his beatified buff is on your ally. So it's really easy to see when you need to replenish it if you're trying to keep uptime. If you take a look at Fushuan there, her pips count the number of charges she has on her passive, which is the one that heals her for a huge amount when she gets below a certain amount of HP. So it is very useful to know when you're running low on those charges. There we go, almost full HP there. But it means that you have to look for something different if you want to know when the skill is running off. We actually see it here, where the ground, the matrix she has on the ground is flashing. That's a big way of knowing. And she also has a buff, a little square buff that flashes as well. So there are ways of telling, there's no excuse. But it's just something different to look for that I miss sometimes. We're doing a pretty good job against Aventurine though. Lightning Lord always does a huge chunk of damage when he comes around. We'll check it here. He's at 8 stacks. 8 stacks by the time we finished. And we almost did. We did 33% of Aventurine's health bar there. Not bad. Not bad. I was a bit slow on clicking Fushuan's ult as well, because Aventurine steals some energy, so we missed out on activating that one a little bit earlier. No big deal. We're just gonna boost Jingyuan back around here. I really like running the siblings together, Sunday and Robin. If only for the kind of lore reasons. I just I like seeing them hang out together, and considering what we saw in the story, I just like seeing them be together. But they're also very good harmony units to run together as well. Of course, this team here is like a Jingyuan hyper carry. We don't really have like a dedicated sub DPS or anything. Robin, of course, does a very good amount of damage for a harmony unit. Herself, when she is in her ultimate. On top of the buffs. But here we are in Aventurine's kind of gamble phase, where we need to hit these dice and hope we get 5. Hope we match 5 or higher. Fushuan and Sunday did not hit the mark, so they take some damage. Jingyuan and Robin though did, and they get some energy for it, which is nice. So, it shouldn't be long. It shouldn't be long after that, especially with Robin's ult having just come up. I'm hoping we can finish it in this cycle so that we have as many cycles as possible on the next round. Just a reminder, of course, we need to do it in 10 cycles or fewer. 10 or fewer in order to get the full stars for all of the Stellar Jade. There we go. We finished off with a nice big hit from Lightning Lord, and we're on to our second round. Just activating a couple of passives here. Aventurines has like a gamble one, so we use that a couple times to try and hit the jackpot while saving enough for the other character. So here we are with the Remembrance MC, who has admittedly a very cute memo sprite called Mem. The big thing here is that when Mem reaches full charge, which you can see, there's a lot going on, but you can see just below the Remembrance MC profile picture, there is a percentage charge bar. When Mem reaches 100%, they will go instantly, and you choose an ally to boost up to go next. So they get to go very quickly, and Mem also, I think, gives them like a damage buff or something, and every time the character that you boost does damage, there's a portion of it that is also converted to true damage. Something like that. I don't know the precise wording. The ult is incredible as well. I don't know the precise wording, but it's a boost. It does extra damage, and that's kind of all you need to know. What we are unfortunately seeing here, though, is that the Herta is taking a huge amount of damage. We have HP already, and we haven't even reached the second phase of this fight. Thankfully, though, Aventurine does get a couple of shields off. One of the sort of small downsides, it's manageable usually, of using Jade here, is that her kit means that the character you choose to buff takes damage every time they use a skill. It's not a huge amount, it's a little bit of damage, but one thing that I overlooked for this team is that I don't have any healing. So the Herta is going to be taking little chips of damage every time she attacks. Aventurine can put a shield on top, of course, but the Herta still takes the damage. And I've got no way of healing it. It's there until the end of the fight. So I need to make some difficult decisions in terms of whether I keep up the Herta's buff or save her HP. It doesn't help, of course, that she has been targeted quite hard by the enemies. But this second phase shouldn't be too much of an issue. All of the enemies here share HP. So with the Herta's huge AoE attacks, we'll see the empowered one here in a second. With the Herta's huge AoE attacks, you do huge chunks of damage to the boss's HP bar. Mem is at 100%, so we boost the Herta again and do some more damage. So the academic office staff have not been able to go until just now, and we've done I'm gonna have to pay special attention to keeping her shield up. Another kind of, it's a bit of a downside, I guess. It's something to keep in mind is that with so many ways for Theota to go again, she has one from her ult. When you use her ult, she boosts herself up in the turn order, so she goes again. And of course Mem boosts her up as well. Quite often I found that Theota's shield was just running out. Not necessarily having lost, not having been hit and sort of losing the shield that way, but just from having the duration on the shield run out, which is an issue that I think arises from Aventurine being slow. If Aventurine was quicker and was pumping out shields more often, then it would refresh the duration. Just something to be aware of there. You can kind of build around it, but the drawback is that Aventurine won't have as much defense, probably, if you're focusing on speed as a substat and a stat on boots and things. So the shields will be weaker, but you'll get more of them, so it's a bit of a trade-off. But we're just playing as best we can. Theota is very, very low on HP now, under 500. I'm pretty sure I let the Jade buff run out here just to try and save Theota's health as much as possible. Jade's damage can't actually kill an ally, but it just lowers the HP every time. So yeah, I let the skill run out there. We're almost done with this fight anyway, so it won't be an issue. We just need to do 2% more. Theota is coming up, and that should be it here. Just one skill, maybe an ult. Nope, just a skill, and we have finished that stage. 11. Stage 11 is done with 3 stars, and we just have 12 left to go. 12 left to go. So, floor 12, and it looks at a glance like a tough one. We have the bug boss. Can't remember what it's called. It's the one Runmay made. The bug boss and the Nikador Strife boss as well. And we have some awkward-ish weaknesses here. Specifically because the second boss, the Nikador one, is weak to Quantum and Lightning. So I really, really want to run Jing Yuan and Jade there. But part of Herta's kit is that you absolutely want to run her with another erudition unit. So I figure I should bring along the Herta and Mini Herta, which should be good fun. They both do ice damage, so that plays into the weaknesses. I do just want to check Mini Herta to see if I can do any quick improvements, and she doesn't have any relics on. So I'm going to quickly pick some relics, focusing on crit rate and crit damage and attack. Not so bothered with speed because a lot of her damage comes from her follow-up attacks, her twirls, which we'll see. So I'm betting on a 2-piece ice damage set and a 2-piece follow-up attack damage set, along with, I'm pretty sure, Inert Salsotto for the follow-up and ultimate damage. But I don't have any great spheres here. I think we really do want ice damage boost as the main stat. So, the one I've got, isn't very leveled up, and it's also just not very good. So, we do end up going with it, I'm pretty sure, although I'm checking out if I've got any other ones here. Oh, surprised myself. I managed to find a good, this is the Lushaka, the Sunken Sea one, which is actually perfect because it boosts the attack of the person in the first position on the lineup, so the Herta. Mini Herta probably isn't going to be contributing a huge amount of damage by herself, so it's better for us that she is buffing the Herta instead. Just here finding a good light cone, and we give her Himiko's light cone just for a bit of an increase in damage. It's not the crit ratio there is bad, 30 and 162. Let's see if we can find a crit rate piece instead. We'll give it this one. So the crit ratio is a little bit better, 56.9 and 97.3. The damage Mini Herta does isn't going to be useless. It's just not going to be incredible. So that's why I give it the Lushaka piece instead. Let's go with this then. This floor 12 is going to be a bit of a battle. I'm remembering it being tricky. So we're going to be here a while. Let's settle in, and I'll go back to something I mentioned a while ago and never followed up on, my kind of pulling plans and why I'm trying to eke out as many jades as I can. Here we are. We're just in case you're not sure, I've not played with Mini Herta on the channel before. There's not too much to know. She doesn't do any like big buffs or anything. The main thing is that when you deal damage, when anyone on your team deals damage to an enemy, that brings them below 50% of their max HP. Mini Herta does these twirls that does AoE damage. They're fun to see. But my Mini Herta doesn't do an incredible amount of damage. So we're gonna play this pretty much as like a normal the Herta team that we've seen so many times already today. Boosting her around. So I am. This is a voiceover. I am speaking from the future. Not the future for you and me right now. This is getting confusing. But the gameplay that I'm speaking over is older than today. I'm gonna give up on that. So I was trying to gather as many jades as possible at this point to save up for some of the Amphorius characters. I was a bit torn at the moment, as of right now, when I'm speaking. Tribby is on banner, and she is a very, very, very strong harmony character. Very strong, gives huge boosts in damage, and I did actually try and pull for her. Bad news, I'm afraid. I unfortunately lost the 50-50 to Jabard. Which is a shame. I would have liked Tribby. But I am also really interested in Mighty as well. Mighty, who is next on banner in a couple weeks. I'm also like a bit torn about him though, because I really like his character auto mode, where he will perform actions without you having to make any decisions at all, which is a bit lame. I like playing the game and making the decisions, so it sucks a bit that it kind of takes away that agency. I think I'll just save up anyway. I'll decide when he comes out. I'll do the trial and just see how he feels, but I think he looks incredible. Very cool. And also, the kind of big, the heavy hitter character that is upcoming is Castris. Castris, who, from what I've seen so far, is the favourite child of Amphorius by far. I gather that their kit is busted. They do an insane amount of damage, their animations look incredible, and potentially, again I think technically this is from a leak, so it can be it can be fully trusted in the sense that they might undo this or change it, but I think I'm checking here what the crit rate I have on the Herta is. It seemed very low. She wasn't critting, and it just boosted. Of course, I didn't have Sunday's buff on. Anyway, from the leaks I've seen, there might be what's essentially an account-wide buff for just owning Castris. It's not like a game-breaking buff. I think it's like a res, one free res. In any battle, if one of your characters goes down, they get rest, something like that. So it's nice. It's like a quality of life thing, but probably if your characters are dying, something's gone wrong. They're not built up as good as they could be, or you've maybe misplayed something like that. That's what I'd say if one of my characters was dying. I definitely wouldn't say something like, the RNG here is terrible, they're getting focused, what's going on, something bugged. Anyway, the account-wide res isn't like game-breaking, but it is still this cool buff that you get across your whole account just for owning Castris. But the issue for me is that I'm just not super drawn to her character. It's not like, I think she looks really cool, and I like her animations, but yeah, it's just not like it's not someone who I've been really looking forward to, or like Sunday, when Sunday was released and upcoming, I was super excited. I love Sunday. I think he's so cool, so I was super excited for the banner. Even though Castris looks incredible, seems busted, I just don't have the same excitement, so I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be pulling for her. It would probably be sensible, considering how strong she's going to be, but we did manage to take down the big bug there, so we're on to the second round against the difficult Nikador fight. Here. This is kind of where I made the big mistake of not running Jing with Sunday. Sunday is such a huge buff for Jing Yuan because of how he boosts Lightning Lord and all of the damage, that you'll see here that it doesn't feel nearly as good playing Jing Yuan without him. So we run into some difficulties, but we'll see. Yeah, so just to finish up the ramble on Castris, I'm not sure if I'll pull for her. I think I'll see when she comes out and try her out and see how it goes. Maybe chuck a couple of pulls in and see what happens. But yeah, we'll see how he looks when he comes out there. They might change how his kit works as well. But here we are. I have boosted Jing Yuan, and I'm in Sunday mode where I'm expecting Lightning Lord to come next. But take a look at the turn order. Lightning Lord is down at the bottom. Down at the bottom. Yikes. That feels bad. So, it's not looking good. We need to, in order to get 3 stars, we need to finish in 10 cycles. And we need to not lose any characters. We did take a decent amount of time on the first boss with the Herta team. So we're running out of time for the 3 stars here. And the damage is ramping up. They're doing quite a lot. The Automaton Gatekeeper laser focused my Jing Yuan, did half his HP and damage, and CC'd him. This isn't going well. This isn't going well. We'll try and power through though. We'll try and power through. Mem does still boost Jing Yuan, but it's not quite enough. The Sunday's boost, though, it's worth noting, does clear debuffs as well, so that would have been perfect. That would have been perfect. You might sense some foreshadowing here about what we might do next. But I figure it's still worth trying to power through and see what happens. Especially considering if we fail on this half of the floor, we have to redo the first half as well. I think one thing that would be really nice to see, a really nice quality of life feature, is to be able to pick the order that you fight the halves in. So if you had one team that you were kind of worried about and you weren't sure if they were going to do the job, if they were on the second half of the floor, it would be cool. Wow, look at that. For the second time, Jing Yuan's been targeted and CC'd. It's not all RNG though, I won't blame RNG entirely. I did misplay. I'm pretty sure the first time that this happened, I had missed Fu Xuan's skill. So Jing Yuan took more damage than was necessary, and also I could have blocked the CC the first time around. So that was a misplay. Oops. Yeah, it would be nice though if you could swap around the order of the floor halves, so you could try out the team that you're worried about first. It would just be nice. Here we are though, against the empowered Nikador fight. The Giver, Master of Legions, Lance of Fury. This fight is kind of an interesting one, in that it's pretty much an AoE damage jack. He kind of steals your souls and puts them in these spears, and you need to break the spears to get your soul back. So, if you don't have enough AoE damage, the fight goes badly, basically. We do have Jing Yuan and Jade, who are Erudition, both of them, and the MC Remembrance character and Fu Xuan both do AoE damage, so we sort of have the damage covered. However, we are taking hits, we're getting low on HP, and just on the left there we only have 1 or I think 2 cycles left in order to get the 3 stars. But looking at everyone's health bars here, I can see what's gonna happen. this one's a dud. We're just taking too much damage. So, at this point I'm wondering whether it's worth trying to power through just in case a miracle happens. I think I do play it till the end. But, yeah, we do fail this one and we try again. I am already at this point thinking about how I could improve my teams to make it a bit easier. So, after this fight we do some shuffling and retry it. But it's only a matter of time before Nikador finishes the job, and pretty much as soon as Jingyuan is dead, that's the fight over. There's no way we win at that point. Especially not with this much health on Nikador. So it's a bit futile, but I'm carrying on and powering through. We'll just watch the disaster unfold. In terms of time, it probably would be better if I gave up. But we do get a longer video from it, and some more relaxing sounds. Well, we got him through to a second phase, but it's just not good enough. Let's just watch the rest with some brushing and breathing. Why am I still going? Surprisingly, I ended up doing more damage to the Nikador boss than I was expecting. He takes a big chunk every time you destroy one of the spears. But we've lost Jingyuan and Fushuan, so we have a couple seconds left max. Jade's hanging on, and she's down. That's unfortunate. We'll rethink the teams and have another go, I think. So, just a couple changes. We're gonna run the Remembrance MC up top with the Yurta, and we're gonna run Sunday and Lingsha down bottom with Jingyuan and Jade. And I'm kind of considering that the second half seems like the more difficult one. So I'm gonna give Jing Yuan his signature light cone and keep the Urta on my other Erudition one. And I'm just clicking through all my characters to make sure that they have their proper light cones on, and stats look okay, and yeah, that all looks fine to me, so we can jump on in for our second try at floor 12 of the MOC. So the overall strats are going to be pretty much the same, but the first phase should be a little bit more tricky, and the second phase should be a bit easier. Although, I think overall Sunday works so much better with Jing Yuan, and the Remembrance MC works really well with the Urta. Like, probably if you... I feel like if you didn't have Sunday and you just picked who works better with Remembrance MC, I think the Urta works better than Jing Yuan overall. Because she boosts herself with her ult and she goes so often. So you really get to take advantage of that true damage. Right there though, I didn't have enough skill points to use the Urta's empowered skill, which is awkward. One of the kind of downsides of Mem and the Remembrance MC is that it can be a bit unpredictable when they boost, because it happens when Mem gets 100%, and they build up percentage when you use attacks across the team and use the Remembrance MC's skills, things like that. So it can be a bit unpredictable, and it can sometimes mean that you boost your DPS when it's not ideal. Like right here is really good. We're getting Urta to go a couple times in a row, but sometimes Mem can pop up right before someone goes. Here I'm double checking my crit rate because I kind of forgot that the Urta is kind of low on crit rate. She's sort of built to work with Sunday really well. So his crit rate buff is really good. It means she's at 50% crit rate, which isn't the best. But other than that, we're going to pretty much play it through in kind of the same way. With the Urta doing huge chunks of damage whenever her enhanced skill comes up, as long as the crit hits. Like, let's see here, fingers crossed. Boom. Nice big chunk there. We got some crits. And a boost here for the Urta in a pretty good spot. I am running a bit low on skill points though. I'm having to use Aventurine's skill. As I mentioned a bit earlier, I'm using Aventurine's skill quite often because the shield is running out. So I want to make sure no one dies. It just means I'm running a little bit low on skill points overall. But we've made it through the first phase. It has taken us a few cycles, as you can see. We really want to aim to do it in 10. If at all possible, because that will give us the Stellar Jades for 3 stars. But I've kind of set myself the goal at a minimum just to get through. Just to get through floor 12 with any amount of stars. I really want to try and take down this cycle from the Remembrance Trailblazer. I miss a crit, and we get Mem's boost. Come on. One more basic attack does it though. A little bit greedy, but it means that we start the fight here against the big bug boss. The True Sting with an empowered skill from the Herta. So that's good for us. Here we go. The big chunks of damage are of course a little bit unreliable now because we're missing the crit rate. We're missing the crit rate we would usually see if we ran with Sunday. But we're kind of taking it slow and steady now. Just trying to make it through without losing anyone and within 10 cycles if at all possible. If we can't do it in 10 cycles, then 20 cycles is the next aim. That'll give us 1 star, as well as 1 star for not losing anyone. So we're gonna go for that if we can't do 10. The Herta is perfect in this fight though because the True Sting summons so many of the little swarm bugs. So many of them, and usually it will summon them like symmetrically around themselves. So you end up with a perfect situation with the Herta where you have the big boss in the middle that you can target with the skill, and loads of little swarmlings either side that get the edges, the edges of the skill. Wow, that was a lot of damage on the True Sting there. And killing the small bugs is also perfect. We definitely want to do that. They explode and deal a little bit of damage and add a debuff, a vulnerability debuff. So this whole Memory of Chaos was 100% geared towards AoE erudition characters, which isn't a surprise really. They usually gear these Memory of Chaoses to work with the characters that have just been on banner or are on banner at the time, to try and get you to pull for the characters, of course. So that's why they make it so much easier if you have the characters on banner. The True Swarm, the True Sting is on 1 HP, 1%, so thankfully we managed to push it into the next phase with the Remembrance MC, so we didn't have to waste any damage from the Herta. We just have 1 more phase to go here, but we're taking quite a few cycles. So I think at this point I am kind of resigned to the fact that 10 cycles isn't possible with the teams I have right now and how they're built. Potentially though, what I don't really want to do but could if I was desperate, the Herta only has 50% crit rate pretty much. So in theory you could keep trying this fight until you get crits every time. It's kind of lame. I don't really want to do that, but it's a possibility. There were a few times where I missed a really big crit with the Herta that would have potentially added up over time to just farm for some better artifacts and roll them and hope to get better substats. That feels a bit more legit. We're doing a good job on the True Sting though. They're down to 1/4 HP. 1/4 HP, and all of my characters are pretty much full HP as well, so we are pretty safe here. Just one more empowered skill and we should do the trick. Come on, give us a big crit herder. Boom, boom, boom. So the first half done. We do unfortunately only have 3 cycles left if we wanted to get 3 stars. I think that's a bit unrealistic, so I'm just going to try and get through this second fight with all of my characters still standing and with at least 10 cycles left, which is the kind of lower goal. So popping a few techniques and we're going to jump on it. I think at this point I'm pretty happy with the damage. The damage should be fine. The thing I'm concerned about is taking too much damage. Lingsha is a really good healer. She does a lot of healing and she has a couple of like panic heals. One of course is her ult, which heals when you use it. And it also boosts her bunny up, which does healing itself, so there's a good panic heal there. But apart from that, you also have one built into her kit. She has a passive. See, this is awkward, but thankfully the bunny clears debuffs, which is perfect. Built into a kit is if someone gets below a certain percentage of HP, you get like a free heal from her bunny. It kind of just goes for free, and that resets every couple of turns, I think. So we have some good healing across the board, but it would be an issue if someone got focused a couple times. Like just there, if the Automaton Gatekeeper hit Jade twice, Jade might have just died and there wouldn't have been anything I can do about it. So in that case, having a shielder would have been better, so I can kind of preempt it. So I'm just a little bit concerned about the damage, the incoming damage here. We're gonna try and get through nice and safe though. To finish it if at all possible. It should actually be a little bit safer when we get through to the second phase against Nikador, because I'm pretty sure he only does AoE attacks against the team, so that's perfect for someone like Lingsha who just does team-wide healing pretty consistently. So I'll be happier once I get through to the second fight. Funnily enough, we do get a really nice boost on Jingyuan there though, just to drag him up into the current phase alongside the Lightning Lord, and now we just have a little bit of health left to take down on the Gatekeeper. I'd like to try and save ults on Jingyuan if I can, so I'm considering here if I want to try and be greedy or not. I decide against it. We're just gonna whack him. Miss a crit though, unfortunately, and he's really low on HP. He's clinging on for dear life. Oof. A big old chunk of damage on Jade, but the bunny rabbit who has a name that I can't remember comes in clutch with some healing. We've We've successfully made it through to the empowered Nikador fight though. And we should be pretty happy here. We could probably go ahead and auto if we really wanted to, but I get the feeling that the like auto targeting on Sunday's ult and skill and the timing on Jingyuan's ult and stuff is gonna get all messed up, so we'll play it through, we may as well. All of the spears are weak to lightning and they're all weak to quantum. So Jingyuan and Jade are perfect for this. Dribby also would be very good though. So I'm sure that's why they've set the bosses up like this, to try and get you to pull for Dribby if you're having trouble. We should be able to get through with Jade though, who is also a very good sub DPS for erudition units. Right here, I really want to use Jingyuan's skill, but I also want to save a skill point to get some healing on Lingsha. I was very concerned that I was gonna lose someone there, so I figured it was better to play it safe. And we do a nice chunk of damage here instead. The biggest source of damage against Nikador is destroying the spears and breaking the war armor. Breaking the war armor that you see just to the right of Nikador's health bar. So it might even be sensible, just thinking about other kind of team comps, it might also be a good idea to bring along a really quick hunt unit maybe, to do just a load of damage very quickly to Nikador. That could be an option, if I wanted to do it again and try and speed up a bit. But we're pretty much full HP, well, before that attack, and on to the second phase of Nikador, so I'm feeling pretty good. We're just gonna do exactly the same. Some big old AoE attacks to take down the spears, and also to try and take down Nikador's war armor, to do a big old chunk of damage. There we go there. Should start doing some nice big chunks of damage here once these spears go down. And that was a scary attack. He did a lot of damage across the board, but check out Lingsha's healing here. We get a nice chunk from the ult itself, and it boosts up the rabbit for even more healing. So overall, I'm really glad I got Lingsha. I'm really glad I got Lingsha. I did use a guarantee on her, and it was a pretty high pity, but I'm still glad. I just hope I don't regret it if Dribby ends up being like indispensable across the board. But with Lingsha's help, we managed to take down Nikador. It was actually a bit closer. I don't know if you saw. We had 19 cycles remaining. We needed 20 to get 3 stars. So we're so close. It might be worth doing it again, but for now, I'm happy to have finished. I'm happy to have finished, and that is where I leave it. So, I really